Hi, this is Dave and welcome to the Table, a series of videos where I review and discuss various board and card games looking at them from a family perspective. Today we're going to be taking a look at the card game UGG from Calliope Games. Now this is a 2 to 6 player card game set in the Stone Age where you are racing to collect together sets of these 3-color suits in order to score points without getting hit by the various UGG cards. Alright, let's take a look at this game and how it's played, and I'll come back and I'll give you my thoughts. Okay, let's take a quick look at the components that come in UGG here. There's 110 cards that make up this deck, and it's going to be comprised of 78 number cards here that come in 3 different color suits, purple, orange, and green, with number values of 1 through 5. There's also going to be 4 of these wild cards that can be used for a couple different purposes during the game, and finally there's going to be 28 of these UGG cards here, which is going to be bad for the caveman in this game. So those are the components. Let me get this game shuffled up and I'll show you how to play. I've gone ahead and I've shuffled up the UGG deck and I placed it on the table in front of us, leaving room for a discard pile here and room here to build 3 piles of cards called safety piles. Now I'm going to do this game as a 2-player demonstration, and so each player is going to have room in front of them for cards to be placed called a pool, and then an area off to the side for their cards that have been scored. Now the best way to explain this game is to just start playing it and covering the rules as we go along. So on the first player's turn, there's 2 things that are going to happen. They have to take a card, and then they may lock in a set of cards for scoring, and they could do them in either order. Right now we don't have any cards and there's none to take, so on the first turn they have to flip at least 1 card here, and this is an orange number 1. Now that once that we've flipped the card here, we can choose to take this card and place this into our playing area, or we can choose to flip another card. This is a value number 1. It's not really a valuable card, so we're going to choose to flip another card here. Now the second card here, this is an orange number 5. Now this, on the other hand, is the highest valued card in this particular suit, and so we're going to choose to take this card and we're going to place this in our pool area in front of us. I don't have any cards to lock it together for scoring yet, and so it'll be player number 2's turn. Now player number 2 may choose to take this orange number 1, or they may choose to flip a card, which they're going to do. We have an orange number 2. I can now choose to take this orange 2 or flip another card, which I will. This will go on to the second pile here, and this is an orange number 1, which I don't necessarily want either. Now I do have to realize that we have flipped about 4 cards, so the probability of encountering an UGG card is very, very high, but there's really nothing here that I feel is worth taking, and so we'll go ahead and flip a 3rd card here, which happens to be a wild. Now with this wild card here, what I can do is I could immediately discard this and steal a purple card from any other player that happens to have one in their pool area. But I do not see any other purple cards in play at this time, so the other option is I can place this in my pool area and I can use it for locking in sets of cards, which I'm going to do. And so back to player number 1. Here I think I'm going to flip a card here. And so now I have encountered this UGG card. Now since this was the first card that I flipped over on my turn, the turn will end just like the card says, but I will place this card face down in my scoring area and will be worth 3 points at the end of the game. If it was an UGG card that I flipped after the first card, then I would resolve the effect and it would go into the discard pile. So back to player number 2, we're going to flip this green number 2, which I think we're going to take this card here. Back to player number 1, and I can choose to take one of these cards if I want to. However, I'm going to flip a card here, and we have a green 3, which I like that card, and I will choose to place it here. Now over my turn so far, I have not filled up this 3rd safety pile yet, but what I could do is essentially flip and reveal 3 cards, and if there's still something that I don't like, I would have to take this top card here, flip it, and I have to take it no matter what. So back to player number 2. We flipped over an UGG card. It was the first one that turns over. It just goes right here. We'll flip a card here. happen to be another UGG card, and the same thing, it'll go in the scoring pile worth 3 points. Now we've just uncovered a couple of UGG cards right here, so it probably will be good for a little bit, hopefully. And unfortunately not. There's another UGG card here. Now this one here, it's still going to go into my scoring pile, but this one says -1, and so I have to get rid of one of my cards in front of me. And so I'm just going to get rid of this green number 2. So this will go into the discard pile. And my turn is over. Back to player number 1. I'm going to flip this green 1. I don't necessarily like that. There's a purple 1 there, which I don't necessarily like. I'm going to flip this other card here. Now, I have this all wild card right here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just you take this card and place it into my playing area, and I'm going to use it as a purple. Now, I have the ability to lock in a set of cards right here. And how this works is I'm going to take this this purple, and it will be counted as 1 less than the lowest value of the other cards that I have that I'm locking together. So in this case, it would be a 2. Now, the way this scores is the product of these 3 numbers, so 5, 3, and 2. So 5 times 3 is 15 times 2 will be 30 points. So this is a 30-point score. I've locked these in, and this is going to be placed in my scoring pile over here. These cards are locked now, and they cannot be stolen. That is the end of this turn. Back to player number 2, which we will flip a card here. And there's just a bunch of 1s right now. We have this green number 5, and of course we're going to take this. And that is going to end this turn. I don't have anything to lock in yet. This one over here, back to player number 1. There's a green 1. Here's an orange 2. And there's an orange wild. And I think that we're going to take this card here, and we're going to place this, and we're going to lock in a set of cards. And what we're going to do here is when this scores, this is going to be worth a lot of points because we have multiple wilds. And so we have a 5, this would be a 4, and this would be a 4. So this is 5 times 4 is 20 times 4 is 80 points. We just have an 80-point score that's going to be going right here. Now this is going to continue to go on during the game until this deck is depleted. We're going to be playing cards, taking them, putting them into our hands, and attempting to score them. Before we flip over the last card, each player will have a chance to lock in any cards that they may have in front of their pool area. And then they will flip the last card over, and then after that you will tally up all of your points, and whoever has the highest number of points wins the game. And that is how you play UGG. Okay, let's talk about UGG here. And this is the first game in the Calliope line that I actually owned, and I picked this up at my local game store kind of on a whim. I saw it on the shelf and I bought it mostly because of the low price point. The game was like 10 bucks, and I liked the theme of it here. I thought kind of a cool caveman game, and then thought this would be something that my kids would enjoy, and we have enjoyed this game quite a bit. This one kind of goes out with us frequently if we go to a restaurant. This game comes along. My one daughter, Rebecca, she loves to play this game, so this gets played quite a bit. Now, this particular game, there's a lot of cool things about it. Number one, the artwork. I love the colors. They're just the right, I guess if you want to call them, like fun shade for the green, the orange, and the purple. But the cool thing is you've got the different themes for each of the color suits. So you've got the orange ones, like kind of like the caveman careers. Then you got the caveman ride with all the purple cards, and then finally, like the green ones, you got like the caveman, like the caveman crib, like where he's gonna live. So you got some cool, cool theming in each of the card suits, and then of course you've got all those UGG cards that have nasty natural disasters that are going to come along and wreak havoc on us as cavemen in playing this game. Now, there's some really cool elements to this game that give it some meat. And that, first of all, that is there is a lot of risk management in this game, as well as the press your luck. I mean, the cards are, the deck is constructed where there's one of those UGG cards out of every 4 cards in the deck. So you really have to think about if you're going to take a card from a safety pile, or if you're going to choose to flip one, because if you flip it and it's an UGG card, then you're going to fall victim to it. So you have that press your luck there, and then also your risk management is, you know, how long are you going to have cards sitting in your pool before you decide to lock them together to score some points. Now, the scoring system for this is really good, and if you are fortunate enough to have some high value cards and you lock them together, you're going to score a lot of points, and it could potentially lead to a runaway victory if you end up having a lot of the high value cards. But you know what, this game plays quickly, so just play it again. Now, there's some really cool things that if you look at this game from a family perspective, this is where it gets to be really cool. Scoring mechanism for UGG is 3-number multiplication, simple math facts. So, I'm going to say this right now. Parents, if your kids are struggling with simple like multiplication, multiplying 3 numbers, this is a great tool. Homeschoolers, great tool. This is a perfect alternative to flashcards. Okay, tutors, this is again a nice tool. And then also schools that have any kind of enrichment program, or this is a great thing to have in the classroom for those rainy days when they can't go out to recess. This is kind of something that you could have in your classroom for the kids to play. And since it plays up to 6 players, you could have 4 decks of these cards, and you can have a whole classroom playing them. So for $40, you could have a whole classroom working on their math facts, and they really don't even know it. They think they're playing a game. So it's kind of something that you could sneak in under radar with these guys. So that I love about this game. Now, again, this strategy of this game with the risk management and stuff, it makes it so that there is some meat to the game. It's not, I mean, it is a very light game, but it's also something where you do have to think about how you're going to manage your risks. So that's another benefit of this game, is kind of weighing the options of when you're going to not get greedy. So that's another great element for this game, UGG. Okay, so if you are interested in becoming a caveman, trying to get some really cool, a really good job, and a really cool car, and a really big house, and try and score lots of points along the way, pick yourself up a copy of UGG from Calliope Games. I'll have the information in the video description below. Alright, that's it for now, and join me again next time as we take a look at another game and we see how it makes it to the table.